Welcome to Daily Dreamer, the podcast that provides practical tips and insights to help you reach your biggest dreams. Tune in for daily doses of motivation, inspiration, and actionable advice to turn your aspirations into reality. Whether you're looking to find clarity, boost your confidence, or stay on track with your goals, Daily Dreamer is here to guide you every step of the way.
All right, so today we're diving deep into some pretty wild accusations against someone you've definitely heard of, Sean Diddy Combs.
Diddy, yeah.
We're going way past the headlines and the gossip to really get into the facts. Based on what we're seeing from attorney Tony Busby, he did an interview on Piers Morgan Uncensored.
Oh, okay.
Where he's representing 120 alleged victims
120
of Diddy. Yeah.
That's a big number.
It is. And to help us make sense of it all, we've also got some insights from some hip-hop experts.
Great.
So first of all, what's really grabbing everyone's attention here is the number. Like you just said, 120 people are accusing Diddy of some really serious stuff, like sexual assault, sex trafficking, and racketeering.
And Busby is saying that this has been going on for 25 years.
25 years.
Yeah.
That's not just some one-time thing.
Right.
You know, it's like, it makes you think, if this is all true, how has this been able to go on for so long?
Well, it makes you wonder about the people around him, right?
Yeah.
Maybe there's a whole culture of keeping quiet. We should get into that later, for sure.
Definitely.
But for now, let's stick with the accusations for a minute.
Okay.
So Busby is saying that a lot of times Diddy would drug people.
Really?
At parties.
Yeah.
Which is scary to think about.
Yeah, that's a scary thought, especially if there's alcohol or drugs already there.
Totally.
It just makes things even more blurry, you know?
Yeah. And Busby is saying that 25 of these 120 alleged victims were actually underage when all this was happening.
It's terrible. Underage. How did he even find them?
Well, Busby said there were like two main groups.
Okay.
The first group were young people who were kind of lured into the industry with all these promises of like fame and fortune.
A classic story. You see it so much, though.
Absolutely.
So many industries.
Just taking advantage of people.
Yeah.
And the other group
is actually even worse. These were young people who were being recruited at parties.
At parties?
Yeah. He actually gave an example of a party in the Hamptons.
Wow. Those Hamptons parties.
Yeah. It's just crazy to think about.
Yeah.
That this kind of stuff can happen anywhere, you know?
Right. It doesn't matter who you are, where you are, this can happen.
That's exactly.
Okay, so what about Diddy? How is he responding to all of this?
Well, his mom, Janice Combs, she's come out and said it's all lies. She actually called it a public lynching.
Wow. Public lynching. That's strong language.
It is, but I mean, you can see where she's coming from, right?
Sure. Any mother would want to protect their son.
Exactly.
But this is going to have to be dealt with in court, you know?
Yeah. For sure.
This isn't something you can just deny and make go away, especially after that whole Cassie thing.
Oh, yeah. Last year with that video.
Exactly. The video of him attacking her in the hallway.
And remember his apology video?
Oh, yeah.
He didn't even say her name.
Yeah, that's right. He didn't. Kind of makes you question his sincerity, doesn't it? Yeah. Especially now with these new allegations.
Definitely adds another layer to the whole thing.
It does. And the panel on Piers Morgan's show picked up on that.
They did.
Yeah. Esther Kirku. She was saying that this kind of behavior, if it's true, it doesn't just appear out of nowhere.
You think so?
She's basically saying people have probably been letting him get away with stuff for a long time.
That's pretty wild.
It is. And then think about the number of accusations. 120. Busby was saying that his hotline got like 12,000 calls in just 24 hours.
12,000 calls.
Yeah, after the news broke.
That's insane.
I know. And not all of those were from victims, but a lot of them were people with extra information.
Wow.
It's a lot.
Even Piers Morgan, who can be pretty skeptical, said that considering it's been going on for 25 years, and with the whole party scene and the drugging, that it's not totally unbelievable.
It makes you think, doesn't it?
It does.
This isn't just some random accusation.
Right. And then this is where it gets really interesting. Busby has kind of hinted that there are some big names.
Big names?
Who are going to be named in these lawsuits.
Like other people involved?
Yeah. He's saying that anyone who saw this stuff happening or knew about it and didn't say anything.
Right.
They're part of the problem.
That makes sense, yeah.
And it's not just individuals either.
Really?
He said he's planning to name companies, too.
What? Like record company?
Banks, hotels,
No way.
even pharmaceutical companies.
That's crazy.
It's huge.
So this is way bigger than just Diddy then, right?
Yeah. If he actually goes through with this,
Right.
this could be a huge scandal for the whole industry.
Absolutely. This changes everything.
We'll have to wait and see how it all plays out.
Definitely. But for now, I think we should pause here. Give the listeners a minute to process all of this.
You're right. It's a lot to take in. But you know me. I always got to leave you hanging. To find out what that bombshell is, you'll have to come back for the erasure. Part 2 of our deep dive. We'll be back soon to break it all down.
All right, so before the break, you were about to tell us what that bombshell was from Busby.
Oh, yeah. So he revealed that half, like 50%
Okay.
of all the accusers are actually men.
Wow, men.
Yeah. And he even said that there was a jump
Okay.
in the number of men coming forward after 2015.
Really? So for years, it was mostly women, and then suddenly more men started coming forward. That's interesting. I mean, it really makes you think about the assumptions people have made in this whole case.
Yeah. You don't often hear about these types of allegations against Diddy involving men.
Exactly. It kind of throws everything we thought we knew for a loop.
It does.
And even the panel on Piers Morgan's show,
Yeah.
they were surprised too. Like, remember Choke, No Joke?
Yeah, the hip-hop guy.
Yeah. He even told a story about Diddy hitting on him.
He did.
Yeah, he said it on air.
Wow.
And No Joke said that based on that, he believes that Diddy's probably at least bisexual.
I mean, we don't really want to get into speculating about anyone's sexuality.
Right, of course.
But it is important information when you're trying to understand the whole picture.
I get that, yeah. It shows that maybe things were a lot more complicated than people initially thought.
Totally. Okay, so let's shift gears for a sec and talk about the legal side of things. What evidence do we know about so far?
Well, Busby said he's got stuff like physical evidence.
Yeah.
And videos from his clients.
That's pretty solid, right?
It is. But he also said that the most important thing is going to be witness testimony.
Oh, okay.
Especially because of the drugging allegations. You know, if people were drugged, their memories might be fuzzy.
Yeah, I see what you mean.
It's a tough situation.
So how does that work in court? Like, what are the prosecutors looking for?
Well, there's this guy on the panel, Andrew Trowsey. He's a former federal prosecutor.
Oh, okay.
And he said that the prosecutors are probably going to start talking to the people who've been named by the alleged victims
Okay.
and basically offer them deals.
Like what kind of deals?
Like, tell us what you know about Diddy and we'll go easy on you. You know,
It's kind of intense.
it is. But it's how they do things.
Wow. So this could go on for a while, especially since Diddy has been trying to get out on bail.
He has, yeah.
Yeah.
Even offered a $50 million bond.
$50 million.
Yeah. But the judge denied it.
Every time.
Every time. Which basically means the judge thinks he's a flight risk. And that they probably have a strong case.
I guess so. It's hard to imagine being in Diddy's shoes right now.
Right.
I mean, the Piers Morgan panel even got into a whole debate about what he might be thinking.
Oh, yeah?
No Joke was saying there's no way Diddy would ever try to take his own life.
Really? Why not?
He said Diddy would never abandon his kids.
Oh, okay. I mean, I can see that. But then Esther Krakow and Piers Morgan brought up Jeffrey Epstein. They said that even with all that money and power, the weight of these accusations, it can be too much for some people.
True.
So it's definitely a possibility.
And then get this. No Joke threw out another crazy claim.
Well, now,
He said Diddy is going to get indicted for Tupac's murder.
for real. Tupac?
Yep. He even brought up some supposed check from Bad Boy Records.
Is there any proof of this check?
Not that we know of.
I mean, it sounds kind of like a conspiracy theory to me.
Yeah. But No Joke's been around forever. He knows the hip-hop scene inside and out.
That's true. But still, Tupac's murder is still a mystery.
Yeah,
There's a lot of rumors and theories out there.
you're right. But it is a pretty wild thought, though.
It is, for sure.
Like, imagine if it's true.
I know, right?
It would be huge.
Okay, so let's take a minute here. I think our listeners need a moment to digest all of this.
Good idea. It's a lot.
This whole story is crazy.
I know. We've got accusations of assault and trafficking. Then there's the talk of big names being involved. And companies, too.
And now a possible Tupac connection.
It's like something out of a movie.
It really is. And before we go on to the next part, I want to leave the listeners with a question.
Okay.
Like, what does all this say about the music industry itself? You know, that something like this could even happen.
Welcome back to the show. So we've been talking about the allegations against Diddy, and it's a lot. We've got accusations, we've got big names maybe being involved, and we even have this crazy Tupac theory.
Yeah, it's been quite the deep dive. Before we wrap up, though, I'm curious what's really sticking with you about this whole thing.
Honestly, it's the human element. I mean, there are 120 people who have come forward with these really serious accusations. That's 120 lives, maybe even more. Who knows how many people are still out there afraid to come forward.
You're absolutely right. It's easy to get lost in the legal stuff and the headlines. But at the end of the day, we're talking about real people who have been hurt. And their voices matter.
They do. Okay, so where do we go from here? Legally speaking, what's next for Diddy?
Right. Well, we know he's tried to get out on bail multiple times, even offered $50 million.
Which is a crazy amount of money. Most people couldn't even imagine that.
And the judge still said no.
Every time.
Every time. Which to me says that the judge is taking this very seriously and that Diddy's a flight risk.
Yeah. I mean, even with all that money, he's still a flight risk.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Makes you wonder what kind of evidence they have.
Right? It does. What could be so serious that they're keeping him locked up like this?
Yeah. I remember what that former prosecutor said.
About the pre-deals.
Exactly. They're probably talking to people right now, offering them deals to testify against Diddy.
That's wild. Imagine being in that position.
It's got to be tough.
Yeah.
But it happens all the time. It's a strategy they use to build their case.
So this could really drag on for a while. And we also have to think about how this is all happening after the #MeToo movement. Do you think that plays a role?
I think it already has. The fact that so many people have come forward, that their stories are being taken seriously. I mean, that's because of #MeToo.
You think so?
Yeah, it's given people a platform.
And a voice.
True. And then there's that whole thing about other big names being involved.
Yeah, if that's true. It could be huge. Like it might uncover a whole network of people enabling this kind of behavior in the industry.
That's scary to think about.
It is. And it could really force the industry to change, to finally face these issues.
But let's not get ahead of ourselves. Diddy's innocent until proven guilty.
Of course. He has the right to a fair trial. But the things we're hearing, they're definitely concerning.
They are. This whole deep dive has been tough, to be honest.
Yeah. It's forced us to look at some really ugly things about power and abuse and how people stay silent.
So what can we do? We're not lawyers or investigators. We can still do our part. We can listen to survivors. We can believe them.
Right. We can stop blaming the victims and hold people accountable.
Exactly. And we can support the organizations that are working to prevent this.
Yeah.
And help those who have been affected.
And as fans, we have to be careful about who we support. Which artists, which companies.
Yeah, we can choose to support the ones who are doing things the right way, who respect people, and create a safe environment.
It's about making good choices and speaking up to demand change.
Exactly. Everyone deserves to feel safe in the music industry or anywhere. And it's on all of us to make that happen.
That's a great point to end on, this whole case. It shows that even the biggest names, the most powerful people, they can be held accountable.
Yeah, nobody's above the law.
And we all have a part to play in making sure justice is served. Thanks for joining us on this deep dive. Stay informed, stay engaged, and keep fighting for what's right.